For WebSight today, we're going to be reviewing the website Ravelry.com. So you can see on the screen, it's Ravelry.com. This is a great resource for both knitters and crocheters, but I wanted to show it to you for the very first episode because it's a great resource and I wanted you to become familiar with it, so we're going to review it. But first you have to sign up. It's a free site, which it says right here on the home page. You can just click Join Now. It'll take you to one of two steps. So you can get a sign-up link. How do you do that? Just enter your email address here. Click the email me a sign-up link. Years ago, it used to be 1 or 2 days before you could get a sign-up link, but I think they do it same day now. Down here, you can see last year's New York Sheep and Wool Festival. Ravelry.com had a meetup, and these are all the people that use and support the Ravelry website. So you can become one of them. There's lots of people because it is a great site. So hopefully we can get you to sign up and get resourceful. So let's go ahead and sign in. I'm going to have to use my credentials to do that. I'm known as KnitTexan on Ravelry, as well as a few other places, but this is about man versus knitting, so let's get started. Alrighty, so in the top banner you can see we have go back to the home page at any time, patterns, yarns, friends, groups, help, and search. Here we have forums and notebook, your shopping cart, messages, and then any settings. I'd like to go over the notebook because I think this is going to be one of the best things for you as a new person to help organize what you do. So here you can enter your projects. The projects can be anything you do. You just add the pattern and there you go. You can enter your stash, meaning as you buy yarn you can enter it here so that when you're on the go you can always log into your Ravelry account and see, hey, do I already have that colorway? Do I already have that kind of yarn? Right there, where you can enter it. Your queue, as you make projects, you can add them to your queue, meaning I know what I'm going to knit first, what I'm going to knit second, third, so on. There's your favorites. You can favorite yarns and patterns, so that way you can remember things to come back to. Friends, groups, and events. Needles and hooks. This is where you can add your inventory of needles and hooks, should you need to organize them this way. Library, sorry about that, car going fast down the road. Library, so this is where you can enter your library of books. In fact, all the books you see around me on the set on my desk are all entered in this library, as well as any patterns you buy. You can ask them to be added to your library to get for a future time, and we'll go over the library again in a minute. Message box, blog post if you've tied your website to the Ravelry account, contributions, purchases, upload a photo. So when we talked about being at a resource, so I want to take you to looking up yarns, because one of the things you need to do is have a yarn. So on this page you can see popular new yarns in this section here. Also you can browse by fiber. When I talk about yarn can be many different types of fiber, and we'll go into more detail during Knitting Clinic at a later date. But suffice to say that these are some of the more popular fibers, anything from acrylic all the way down to yak. So you can see the list here, but for our purposes, we just want to do a quick search for a yarn that we're already going to be using. So this is what we're going to be using later on in Knitting Clinic. So it's Woolies. If we search for the phrase Woolies, we'll see that it's made by Lion Brand. Lion Brand has 308 yarns, and these are all the types of Woolies that there are. We are going to be looking at the Heathers and Twists, because that is what I'm recommending you get for Knitting Clinic. And here we can see that Woolies has this Aran weight yarn. You can see some of the information over here for a quick reference, but it's 197 yards, 85 grams. The gauge, which we'll review that, what gauge is and how to get it at a later Knitting Clinic. But it's 18 stitches with the recommended needle size of US 8, and if you want to use a If you want to crochet, your crochet hook is a J or 6mm. The fiber is 80% acrylic and 20% wool. They've come a long way with acrylic, so this is a good thing, as I've said. It's plied and it's machine washable, which is great. Then there's a little bit of a description from lionbrand.com, and then some of the popular colorways for that. But we are using actually what's in this picture, the heather gray. All right, so now we've seen yarns. You can do the same thing with patterns if you want to know what to make. So here we can put patterns and just put in hat. See what that does. And here it gives you some suggestions for what kinds of hats you would want, but we're just going to say hat and search. So here we have over 2,000 pages of hats. How do we filter that? How do we narrow that search? Well, here we can see we have some parameters on the left-hand side. And you're going to use those quite often. So for these purposes, we want to see the knitting pattern. So we're going to go down to 77,853. I would like to say that they're free. There's over 21,000 that are free. I want it to have a photo, again, over 21,000. I want it to be for an adult, so there's 10,000, over 10,000 of those. One color, for simplicity's sake, and that Woolly said it uses a US 8, so let's look at 8. Okay, so if we go back up to the top, we can see the over 2,000 pages went to 27 pages. So these are some of the examples. Of course, we selected one color. You can see this one here has 2 colors. It's not a perfect science. It's how the designer tagged their item. But for the most part, and then of course we said hat, and these are mittens. But it depends again on how the person tagged their stuff. Hopefully people do it correctly, but you can see there's lots and lots of hats here, and you can see lots of female models. So, well, there's a guy. But a lot of hats are unisex, so that's a good thing. Like this would look really great. This would look really great. That, I don't know, maybe if you have a fun thing. But you can also take any of these, you can clear that out, and it go to 78. Clear the colors used, go to 152. So you can really go back and forth searching for patterns here, and this is great. One thing I'd like to also bring up to your attention is you have under this My Notebook section, you have In My Library. So under the parameters that we've set here, knitting, adult, has a photo, and that needle size, there's 41 patterns in My Library. What does that mean? Well, let's go back to the home page, and let's go to My Notebook and Library. Now here is all of my books, and it's like a bookshelf, and I just have entered those, or if I buy them I save them there, and then pages of those, and then I also have all my single patterns. Now, if you look here, it says I can search over 3,302 patterns. So because I've added all those, I can literally go to my notebook and search instead of patterns and search for hat. And there are all the hats that I already have the patterns for. So those are things that I wanted to show you. Makes things, and you can view them in different ways, shelves or details or list. But I wanted to show you a great resource for adding. You can add things right here, add items to my library. But these are easy ways. And when you go back to the home page, this is news that they have. Always, so when you log in, you'll see the news. But that is Ravelry. I wanted to also show you the MANvsKNITTIng site. There we go. So everybody needs a hobby. So you see the YouTube channel, about me, blog, contact me. This is what I wanted to show you. FAQs store's coming. FAQ. So here's some FAQs, and like I said, as you send questions in, we will post them here. How do you send the question in? Here's the contact me page. You can email me directly or use the contact me page, and then just answer this security question and you'll be all set.